The C programming language will be starting with section 1.3, the for statement. There are plenty of different ways to write a program for a particular task. Let's try a variation on the temperature converter. The temperature converter program was in a previous video. We are writing the hash including the standard input output library header file. Then we are starting our main function. We can include comments what this does. And that is a comment. We'll be starting our main function. We are using indent as a good practice. It is not really required. We are declaring the variable Fahrenheit and we are using the for loop. Less than equal to 300, and then we are incrementing it for every loop. The step size is 20. We are passing the second and third argument to be printed inside our percentage constructions. Instead of computing this value outside the print statement, we are computing it as a parameter to the print statement for each iteration. And we are ending the here you need to observe that this particular curly braces was not required since there is only one statement inside the for loop, but then we used it as a good programming practice. This produces the same answers as before, but it certainly looks different. One major change is the elimination of most of the variables. Only var remains and we have made it as an int. The lower and upper limits, the step size, appear only as a constant for the for statement itself, a new construction, and the expression that computes the Celsius temperature now appears as a third argument of the printf instead of a separate assignment statement. This last change is an instant of a general rule. In any context where it is permissible to use the value of a variable of some type, you can use a more complicated expression of that type. Since the third argument of the printf must be a floating point value to match the percentage 6.11f, any floating point number can be used here as an argument, can occur there. The for statement is a loop and is a generalization of the while. If you compare it to the earlier while, its operation should be clear. Within the parentheses, there are three parts separated by a semicolon. The first part, the initialization, it is var equal to 0 is done once only once before the loop proper is entered. The second part is the test or the condition that controls the loop. This condition is evaluated, so the loop flow goes to this. This condition is evaluated, it goes to the statements below it in the for loop. The second part is the test. This condition is evaluated. If it is true, the body of the loop, here a single printf is executed. Then after the execution of this statement, it will go back to the increment part, and then it will go back to condition check. The thing is, the initialization happens only once. The loop terminates if the condition has become false. As with the while loop, the body of the loop can be a single statement or a group of statements enclosed in braces. The initialization, condition, and increment can be any expressions. All of these can be expressions, any expressions. The choice between while and for is arbitrary based on which seems clearer. The for is usually appropriate for loops in which the initialization and the increment are single statements and logically related, since it is more compact than while, and it keeps the loop control statements together in one place. All the loop control statements are in one place. So we have finished our